What's up, guys? I haven't done a tier list in a bit, so this is going to be, of course, our Krokotopia areas, and then, of course, we're going to rank Krokotopia as a whole in our world's tier list. And here we did our last episode. If you didn't check it out, go watch it. We did the Wizard City areas. And we're going to be doing Krok, and I'm going to put the map that I used on screen. I took all the areas of this, and I added the balance school. I've been using dungeons in a weird way. Like, I didn't put Sunken City in Wizard City. I didn't put Waterworks. I just added them onto the area they were onto. But in this one, I did kind of include dungeons as separate places. I don't know. Wizard City did have a lot of areas, though. Whatever. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter like too much. Like we have the palace. I don't know how to say it. Like the Barracks and the palace. So it's an extension onto it. In the end, doesn't matter too much. I'm getting blurry. Alright, we're back. Sorry. I got really blurry out of focus there. But in the end, it doesn't matter too much. It's just for fun. And let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'd love to hear it. So, we're going to start off with the... these are really small, so I'm sorry if I mispronounce or say the wrong thing. Alright, so our first spot is the Onyx family tomb. On this other screen, I'm looking at the map of it. I haven't done Krok in so long, and it's not as, not to be unfair, but it's not as memorable as a lot of the other worlds. I just feel like this was a typical area. I don't feel like anything really stood out about it. And that's the problem, I think, with a lot of Krokotopia. I'm going to put this thing in C tiers, like super forgettable. Wizard City, each area was a lot, very different, right? You had a lot of, Firecat Alley was, you could tell what was different. Firecat Alley was a lot different than Colossus Boulevard on Unicorn Way. It's very hard to tell in a lot of Krok. It's very hard to tell what spots are different. You can almost tell where it is, like whether it's the Pyramid of the Sun, Kraka Sphinx, or Tomb of Storms. But besides that, there aren't a ton of distinguishing features between the areas. That being said, we have the Altar of Kings next. So that is right when you go into the Pyramid of the Sun. This is the main area. You go straight and you see the giant Kraka mummy thing. Amazing, okay? I think this is one of the coolest parts about New Worlds, is when they have really cool, distinct areas. Like, first going to the Oasis in Krokotopia, you see the massive pyramid, you see that storm with the locust swarm type head, and you see the Sphinx over there on the island. It looks so cool. But then you get into the actual areas, and it's just like tomb routes. Like, they all look the same. We all know what they look like. I can throw an image up on screen. They all look like this, with very small differences. What makes an area distinct? Now, this one, of course, has the giant, alligator thing, and it looks amazing. Well, it's a crocodile. But it looks so good. I'm gonna put this. Dude, I'm so tempted to put an S, but S is like top tier, A+. It's above average. It's really cool. This is one of the first things you see besides the Oasis. The first place you go. Super cool. Okay. The Balance School. Now the Balance School itself, I guess it is a different area. I just added it. All right. I guess it's kind of like Nightside. It's like its own little thing. You found that you have your 5 schools in Wizard City. You have your 6th one underground, like your 5 schools in Ravenwood, the 6th one underground is the Death one. Where's the Balance School? Here it is. And honestly, I love that they had 5 main schools, so that was like the main hub of the schools. But then 2 of them were in different cool places. And the Balance one being in Krok was awesome. So, you know what? I'm going to put an A. It's just really cool. The school itself is basic, and that's the problem why it's not higher. But I like the idea that it was in a different spot. That's what makes it good and not just like a basic B school, Alright, Chamber of Fire. So the place that I would say that 90% of these areas where you fight people, like the Onyx family tomb, are just roads, are just like the lanes. We've all seen them. I showed the picture earlier. Some places do have that one place that differentiates them, makes them different. This one has that pit. It has that little pit you go down into and you come back up. Now, is that the pit enough to make it better than average? Not really. The pit's B. It's not that good. It's not cool enough to really pull it out of you know, more than just a road. It adds a little bit of flavor, but it's not that cool. All right, now the Desert family tomb. I don't even know how to pronounce it. The D family tomb. In this place, you know what? There's not much to do in this place except for fight, isn't it? Oh, I might be totally wrong. Nah, I don't want to say it. But I think you fight, like, it's a very short area from what I remember. And again, I haven't done Croc in so long. But it does have those places on the side with, like, the casks almost. Still not great. It's with the Onyx family tomb as being very forgettable. Not an area you remember too much. So we're just going to move on. Emperor's Retreat. Now, what I will say is this area, it has its lanes of, you know, its tomb lanes, whatever. What it does have, though, is that giant ice. And this is a dungeon in the Krokotopia Sphinx, but it has that giant frozen lake underground with the boat and the pier. So cool. This is definitely enough to make it better than, like, BB+. I'd say seeing this frozen lake underground, it really added a lot of flavor to the Krokotopia Sphinx and to Krokotopia as a whole. Was it enough to put it in A as like a good area? That's what's I'll say B+. Because thinking about later areas in the game, there are a lot of like super cool areas. And is it average? It's a tad below average. But yeah, entrance hall of Krokotopia Sphinx. Not much to do here. There was that boss in the middle, but besides that, it didn't really hold a candle to what the Altar of Kings had in its area. So I'm gonna say the entrance hall to the Krokotopia Sphinx. All right, sorry if you heard my text. I have my ringer on. The entrance hall of the Krokotopia Sphinx. I'm tempted to put it in one of these. I'll say it's this. It's not as cool as the Emperor's Retreat. It can't be. Not at all. Grand Arena. So this place is a little bit different. It still has its little pathways, like always. You know my path, the Krokotopia pathways. Which they really got a lot better at the pathways in Celestia. A lot of the Dragonspire areas look similar. They have their like Dragonspire roads. A lot of the Mushu areas have their bamboo roads. A lot of the Marleybone areas have their rooftop roads. A lot of the Croc areas have their like tomb roads. Celestia, every area was different. You had underwater areas, above water areas. You had areas where there was a lot of technology, lots of different stuff in Celestia. And so until we get to Celestia, a lot of these areas will not be as high as some other things. Minus, the one exception in the first arc is Wizard City, where every area is distinct. Triton Avenue is a lot different than Firecat Alley. It's always been. But before the remodel, everything. It's always been distinct and cool. The Grand Arena, though, is what sets this place apart. And you do a lot of fighting in the Grand Arena. I think off the Grand Arena, you went and fought different bosses. So, okay. I think it's better than these ones. I don't think it's better than the pit in the middle. So there it is. I don't hate the Grand Arena. It's just not great. Speaking of bad places, what is this place even called? Hall of Champions? Yeah, it's bad. It's the same as these two. It's just, there's nothing that makes it special. The only thing that makes it special is between the roads, you got these little areas where you would go under these little doorway things. Yeah. Okay, now the barracks in the Tomb of Storms, I believe this is. Yes, it is a Tomb of Storms. My bad. Yeah, Tomb of Storms. So you might be thinking I'm going to put these places in a bad. It's Tomb of Storms. It's boring. It's roads. I'm actually going to put it in A because it had these jutting out areas where there were houses and stuff, but then there were bridges. Maybe I'll throw another photo on screen, but it was so cool when I first saw this area. I was like, this is amazing. It was almost like, you know how the Drum Jungle has like the wooden bridges in between like the tree houses? This was like kind of like that. It was wooden bridges in between like sand pillars, It's like really, I loved it. I thought this was one of the coolest areas in Krokotopia. Now again, it's not higher up because the whole area isn't this. There's a lot of garbage tunnels like usual, tomb roads, a lot of boring roads, but yeah. The Palace, the Krokomina Palace. I don't even know, it's Krokotan, whatever it is. Doesn't matter. The Palace, absolute D tier, doo-doo. I might put a picture of this up on screen too. But my God, this place sucked. This place is literally a square, and you'd fight your way around it. Oh my God, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. It was so bad. It's not fun. It doesn't even look cool. It's just terrible. There's no dynamic, you know, you're not running around, and it's literally a square, and you'd fight your way around the four corners of the square or whatever it was. It was bad. I just remember being so boring. Even with the max hitter, it's still tedious. So, terrible place, D tier, kill it. Oasis, S. I'm tempted to put it in S+. I'm so tempted. Dude, Oasis is one of the hub areas of every world are usually pretty good. The Oasis is one of the best. Ooh, I'm so tempted. That's the problem with these tier lists. Like, it might be an S. You know, you might have your own opinion. I'm so tempted. If you're gonna be like, you idiot, you didn't put it in S, well, it's very close, and or an S+, and I'm really tempted to put it there. Well, I'll just leave it in S. Amazing. Like, as I said before, you walk into the Oasis for the first time. It's the first time you've been out of Wizard City. You're like, oh my God, you can take this Bartleby door to other worlds, and the first time you see the Oasis, it blows you away with the massive pyramid, the Crocosphinx, the pit and the tomb over there. So cool. Amazing area. Yeah, the thing is, this is like, once I get to like the later worlds, even like Avalon, I'll have like a real basis for what I think areas are. I'm very early in it, so it's hard for me to compare what the Oasis should be compared to like other hub areas, you know? The Commons, I think, are S+. It's not as iconic as the Commons is probably the problem, but it does look really cool. Palace of Fire, boring hallways. See, you fight a lot of stupid things, and it's just a hallway. There's nothing. There's no character to it. It's just boring. Royal Hall. So this is a lot of hallways, of course, as usual. We know that. What's distinct is there's like a dig site in it. I'm gonna say the dig site. Look, it has. These are boring with nothing cool. You know, this is terrible. Boring hallways with nothing cool. These are boring hallways, but there's like there's a little bit of something that makes it different. Although this one's an Intercell. There's a little bit of something that makes it different. All right. Now we have this one, which is like the thing that makes it different is cool. These ones, yeah. Anyway. All right. I zoomed out because I just looked at my recording and these were getting cut off. But now they're even smaller than usual. But yeah, now we have the actual final dungeon of the whole world, and what is it called? Temple of Storms. I was like, there's not the Tomb of Storms. That's the area, or like the subsection. Temple of Storms. I actually really like this. I couldn't find, without going into the game, I couldn't find a picture of the place where it has the giant statue of I think it is Krokotopia. Really cool. And it's like a suspend over cliff, and you take the teleporter down. So cool. And that's why I put it with the Altar of Kings, because they both have these giant, awesome statues. That's like, this is what we expected, from a Croc area, an ancient Egyptian type area. Super cool. Next is the Throne Room of Fire in the Pyramid of the Sun. This place is awesome, okay? And for one reason, I know it has that stupid thing where you have to run around and find the roaming boss at the end, and that's stupid. You have to open the gate and stuff. But there is a room in this. It's a mini Krokotopia. And it's a lot like the... it's a callback to Indiana Jones, the first Indiana Jones, when he gets that staff and he plants it, and then the sunbeam goes through and hits where the Ark of the Covenant is. And that's what's in this as well. You get that sunbeam staff, you plant it, and it hits the Crocosphinx. It's a callback to a great movie. It's such a cool area. I love like little models of worlds. Like when you go into the side room in Merle Ambrose's house, and you see the little model of the spiral, or in the Arcanum you see it too. So cool when you see like the little model of Krokotopia's Oasis. It's awesome. So I'm gonna put this. Man, I'm so tempted. I'm gonna put it up here at A+. I can't put. It's not as good as the Oasis itself, but it's really cool that you can see the whole area. It does have that stupid quest, but it's kind of, the area is cool enough that it's worth it. The Vault of Ice. This is the one where you defeat the 3 witches, right? And then you have to defeat the final boss. You have to go find the 3 witches. Absolutely terrible. What a drag. I mean, I kind of like that it's a puzzle, but God, it's just such a tedious run. It's mostly running. Let's all be honest. You don't have to have a max wizard with you. It's still mostly running. The last place is the area in the Tomb of Storms, the Well of Spirits. This is like the main hub area, kind of like the Hall of Champions, or kind of like the entrance hall, and kind of like the Altar of Kings. Where does it sit? It's not as bad as the entrance hall. The entrance hall is nothing cool. I really like the souls. What is it? It's sewage. It's not sewage, but it's that green liquid type thing. It has that giant statue in it. Giant statues, baby. Super cool. I'm telling you, it has that giant statue. And the last sigil that you go on, the last dungeon, the last place you actually quest in this whole world is like that sigil under the big statue. And that's like, I love places where you can get to the area and you're like, you get to the area and you run to the end and you're like, this place is dope. I know this is the final dungeon. Like Shabal, but you see that giant, the bow and arrow guy shooting into the sky, and you're like, when this gets lit up, this is the final dungeon. I love that. That's so cool. Like, you can just tell by how epic it looks. Very good. Above average. Definitely good. For sure. So, before we move on and we rate the actual world itself on our tier list, I do want to say that you might be saying, where's House of Scales area? Where is the pagoda area of Harmony and stuff like that? That, like Darkmoor in the last one, is going to have its own video. It's going to be the 4 dungeons, as you see here. Where is it? Is it not here? Hello? Oh, Tale of the 4 Dungeons, right here. And of course, this is the Catacombs, because there's no Catacombs world icon or anything. So I just put the actual icon of the Catacombs. It's just the extract. I'm so proud of myself. It's such a stupid thing, and I'm so glad I did it. But that being said, where is Croc? I love these little world icons. They're so cool. Like Avalon, Azteca with the meteor. Croc has its pyramid. So good. So good. So that being said, where does Croc rank? Again, I don't think these out beforehand. All this stuff is off the top of my head, which I don't know if it's good or bad to do that. But regardless, Wizard City we have is A+. It's above average. It's the base world of the whole game. It's good. It has some distinct areas. It's got some iconic areas like Ravenwood. The Commons, of course. But where does Krokotopia rank? It's definitely not as good as Wizard City. Now, I think if I were to rate like newer worlds like Mirage is, it's a lot like Croc in a lot of ways. It's got the sandy aesthetic and stuff. If I were to rate Mirage in the B tier, I don't know. You guys might be like, yeah, that's fair. That's your opinion. If I were to rate Croc in the B tier, I think it might get screamed at. Like, a lot of people love the first 5 worlds of the game. The first arc. And I agree. I'm with you. Those 5 worlds are iconic. Everybody remembers them. They're great in their own way. But at the same time, they're kind of terrible. We just went over Croc. How many areas are just the same old hallway? How many times do I have to talk about it? From Croc to Dragonspire, it's a lot of the same thing. It's every area. You could plop you down in the middle of an area and you might not know where you are. You might have a guess, but like they look so similar, and it makes the world feel basic, dragged on. And again, I tried to make each of these pictures like distinct and like, oh, here's the pit of this area. Here's the Grand Arena in this area. Here's the little excavation site in this area. But I could have easily just put the same goddamn hallway in every single one. Maybe switch the color up, so the Tomb of Storms one were purple and these ones were ice, or like blue with the ice. But you'd make it black and white and you honestly couldn't tell. You couldn't tell where you were. And that's not great. So Croc has some amazing things. The Oasis is so good. Has some really cool ideas. But at the same time, God, it feels like such a drag because it's so... like, it's just so boring sometimes, and every area looks very similar. So, because of that, I'm really tempted. I'm not even going to say it's average. I think an average world, I haven't ranked it yet, but I think an average world might be Avalon. Maybe Avalon might be A+, but, as far as... maybe, yeah, Celestia's really good. it's just not doing it for me. I'm going to put in B+. I don't think it deserves to be quite in B, but I think it is slightly below average. What makes it not B or C, because of how boring its hallways and it's like, let's call them streets, right? Streets, hallways, as boring as those things are, I think that the actual idea of Croc, the Manders being slaves to these ancient Crocs creatures, like that's so cool. The three areas distinctly, the pyramid, like there are three distinct areas, and they each kind of an element, which I don't love. That like, oh, we're in the fire, we're in the we're in the pyramid now. It's all fire menus everywhere for the most part. We're in the Crocosphinx, everything's ice. Well, if I'm an ice wizard now, I'm struggling for the next 20 quests. So I don't love that. I do like that they're themed, but I don't love that it's so heavily themed. But I do think it's good. I really do like it. I don't know how many times I can say that I really like the idea of Croc, and the Oasis itself is amazing. But the hallways bring it down. So it kind of sits in that balance, but it's not quite A, because let's be honest, as cool as the world looks in its hub area, most of your time in this world is going to be questing in its zones. And if the zones aren't great, no matter how S+ tier the hub area or S tier the hub area is, it does get dragged down. So B+ is where I'm putting it. It's a good world. I don't think it's bad. I think once you get below B+ is bad. These are okay. These are pretty good, and this one's like amazing. And again, this is my opinion. I'm not trying to look at this from a like a neutral standpoint, like objectively. I do want to look at it slightly objectively. At the same time, like there's a world in here that I absolutely love, and it will go in S+, and you might be like, this is terrible, and I might be like, that's okay. Like Marleybone, sorry, not Marleybone, Mushu. I know a lot of people love Marleybone. It's all right. We'll see. What I was gonna say is that Mushu has a lot of the same problems that Croc has, but man, do I love the Chinese aesthetic of like the Imperial Palace and in the koi ponds and all that stuff. It's so cool. The Zen Gardens, amazing. That being said, thank you guys for watching so much. I really appreciate it. Let me know what your tier list is in the comments below. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to switch. Yeah, I'll try to get the Marleybone one up soon. I'm trying to do these every like week or two. I am really busy right now with work, so I'm getting them up as fast as I can. As far as like the updates to Test ROM, I know I made a few videos on it. There's so many. I don't even know if I'm gonna make it unless there's like crazy major changes, which there have been. I don't know if I'll make another video until it goes to live, because that I feel like will be in a semi-permanent state where I can actually like give my opinion on it, and then the next day it's not changed. So thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know what you think. Leave a like if you liked it. And yeah, I'll see you guys later. I really appreciate every one of you, and I read all the comments. So yeah, see you guys.